Hey guys, my name is Amy and welcome to my channel and to a Sims 4 house building video. I am super excited to be here today building a house for you. Anybody who follows my channel knows that it's been quite some time since I've had really any new content on The Sims, and I do currently have a Let's Play going on, and I promise I do plan on finishing that at some point. But anybody who really knows me knows that my true passion as far as The Sims goes is definitely building. So I'm always excited to be building and making houses, and just anything to do with building is just really fun for me. So I'm excited to be doing this house for you. This is kind of a different type of house as far as like the way that I built it. And so you can see me obviously laying out all these walls, and it seems, in my opinion, I mean, it's kind of intricate. It's got all these pieces that are kind of coming out, and I definitely wanted to go for something that was different. Like in the game, if your Sims lived in this neighborhood, if they were driving through, they wouldn't see the same house like by the neighbors. This is supposed to be like a unique, kind of a different type of house that you wouldn't see, um, again, like driving through the neighborhood. It's not a cookie cutter house. There you go. So, and another thing that I really like about this house and what makes me like really proud as a builder is a lot of times when I build, I am pretty much doing it from like a floor plan, or I find a picture on Pinterest or like Google or something like that. And with this particular house, I just kind of sketched something on some paper. So pretty much drew this for the most part like freehand. I didn't really, I kind of sketched something out for the first floor, and then like the second floor was just kind of all made up. So and a lot as I went along. So it definitely made me, when I do the interior, it made it kind of difficult because when I was building, I was mostly just doing stuff for the outside of the house. I wasn't really thinking about what would be going in the rooms as I'm placing like all the walls and the windows and everything. So which I've never really done before. Even when I've kind of built houses, like from scratch, just something in my head. Every time I've done that, I've still always had an idea of what room will be on the inside, as I'm like placing everything. And this house, I didn't figure out the floor plan until I was like mostly done with the outside and everything. So, it definitely made it a little bit more difficult, but I wanted to accomplish a couple of different things here with the build. And so the first thing is going to be I wanted to have different like sections of the house. So I wanted to have one section that kind of comes out on a diagonal, which you can see on the right hand side, and then one section that was octagonal, which is obviously on the left hand side. So, and I wanted them to be on opposite sections of the house, and then the majority of the house in between kind of just have rectangular shape and have some pieces that kind of come out a little bit, which now that I'm in the roofing part, you can see, I don't know if I've just maybe gotten like stronger as a builder. I'm definitely not a pro by any means. I look at other people's houses and creations and I think like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. I wish I can do something like that. But I've definitely gotten better over the course of the years. And so I feel like roofing has always been the my least favorite part about doing a house. And when I eventually got the shape of this, I was kind of dreading having to put the roof on. But one thing that I think I've learned is like right now I'm on the third level, or the second floor, trying to roof the second floor, and I am using like different types of roofs, and I think I figure out at some point that during this build that the more I use the same type of roof, I think it just looks better. So I use a lot of the gable roofs, which is like the triangle, and then the half gable roof, which is just like obviously half of it. And I feel like that just kind of looks better than trying to use different roof pieces, and trying to make like them connect, because this, I don't remember what this roof type is, but I obviously ended up deleting that because I wasn't happy with how like that was all looking. Um, but yeah, I feel like this roof is complicated as the house is, I feel like the roofing process actually went quite well. And I'm sure if you're looking, from the thumbnail, you see that the third level does change quite a bit from how I have it now. And I'm so happy that I did that. And there's a couple of different reasons why. If again, we break the house up into like sections, the section of the house that has the octagon and the section of the house that is on a diagonal, those are not the same width as we go across. So as I tried to get those sections of the roof to kind of like come together, it wouldn't line up properly. So that was part of the biggest problem that I had with the roofing, is trying to get the different pieces to line up, because the sections of the house were like of different like widths. They weren't all the same size. So so yeah, eventually I end up changing the third story, and with like the dormer section up there. Right now I have like 4 separate little rooms. And I initially, again, was just building based off of the look of the house. So I was just kind of having these extra sections of the house on the third level, but I wasn't planning on being able to like access them as far as like your Sims being able to go up there. But I do in the end up having a small attic area that is kind of all connected. It's probably about the same size living space as what I have up there now, but it's just kind of all connected and kind of makes like a cross or like a lowercase t shape. And I think it looks kind of nice in the end. So you'll see that towards the end, for some reason, I didn't record, or I just cut out the footage of me actually finishing third, the third row. And I don't know if that's just like which one it was, if it was just too long, or I don't know exactly why I ended up cutting it. But as it is right now, this video is like 34, 35 minutes. So I tried to cut out like the stuff that doesn't necessarily matter as much. So you can like focus on more like better details, I guess. So the part that I'm placing right now does stay, and then if you can just picture all the rest of those little dormer areas kind of squishing in together, forming one kind of attic area. So yeah, that's kind of what I did up there. I am currently now working on a balcony for the backyard area. So this is on the second story. And there's a couple interesting things. I do have a balcony facing the front of the house. There's actually 2 that are facing the front of the house. And I initially wanted to have a balcony for like the master bedroom. I wanted to have them have access to look through a balcony. And ideally, I think it would be better if that was facing the backyard. However, how it worked out with the floor plan, I just didn't have I didn't have the room to make it all work. As far as like, I wanted to have the ensuite bathroom for the master in that like octagonal section. I thought that was kind of an interesting shaped room, and definitely would be interesting for a bathroom. And so I thought it would be cool to have the master kind of in that corner. And so I end up having one of those balconies in the front of the house kind of be part of the master bedroom. And then the balcony that faces the back of the house is just kind of like a common living area on the second floor. So, and by the way, one of the balconies that you see that face the front of the house, I do end up taking one of them out and just putting in like walls and stuff. So there's only one balcony that faces the front of the house, and then one that faces the back of the house. So right now I am just kind of putting this, it's supposed to be like an outdoor dining room area. So I put some walls so I actually have an official roof, and then putting some like plants and shrubs and those like vine things that came with the vampire pack, I believe. And then I eventually go and I put some columns around and delete all of the walls. So it just looks like it's kind of like a trellis, I guess that's what it's called. So putting some like fence pieces up, and kind of in a just intricate pattern, diagonal, like shapes and squares and stuff. So you can't really see the exact pattern because it's all covered up by the plants and everything. But it's just supposed to look like it's kind of enclosed, but kind of like outside as well. It's definitely outside, but just kind of enclosed. So originally wasn't going to have a deck or a foundation on this house. I was going to have it level with the ground. But I ended up putting a foundation, obviously, as you can see, and I did that because I decided to eventually I'm going to put in a hot tub, and I wanted to have the hot tub kind of it's at the same level as the foundation, so it's kind of sunken in, which you'll see me do in a little bit. Right now I'm just kind of finishing off some deck pieces, and I wanted to have another deck on this side of the house, just a small little like um outdoor area. I felt like with a house this large that it definitely should have more than one back door. I just didn't seem right to only have one back door on like the far side of the house and nothing on the other side. So putting a small little porch that's kind of covered on that side of the house. And now back to what I was saying about the hot tub. So you can see me, it's the hot tub is actually on ground level, and then I'm just kind of wrapping the deck or the foundation around it. And then eventually add some stairs. So with the move objects on sheet, your Sims can actually use the hot tub that's sunken into the foundation. And by no means am I the original creator or idea of, so the sunken in hot tub, but I've done it before in a couple of my houses. However, I've never actually like done a video for it. So I definitely wanted to include that. And by the way, a little disclaimer, I don't think there's anything that I've done in this video that is my original idea. There's something that I do when I get to the master bedroom, and I honestly don't think I've ever seen anybody do this that I can remember. However, I'm sure I can't be the first person to ever do this in The Sims. So, and I'll kind of leave that for a little surprise as we get to the bedroom later, but I don't honestly think I've ever seen anybody do this before, so I'm kind of excited to show that to you guys. Um, but yeah, just finishing up some of the backyard stuff. Couple things again that I know I'm sure people do all the time. I've seen it on houses in the gallery, but I personally have never used these like flower boxes around the windows. And obviously I've seen them in the built on the buy catalog, but I've never really put them on any of the windows. And I'm really glad I did because I feel like it definitely gives the house more of like the classic homey feel. And I didn't put it on all of the windows because I didn't want it to be like an overkill, but I do put it on quite a few. And I don't know, I just feel like it's a nice touch. So now you can see I'm kind of working on some landscaping, and I did delete one of those balconies that kind of faces the front of the house. And going through and putting some, like lining some of the property with those shrubs. And then I do like to scale up and scale down a lot when I landscape. So a lot of like the grass and some of the flowers I end up scaling up, and then mostly all the rocks I scale down. And it's funny when it comes to the scaling down of objects is that was only new in the update like not too long ago. And I remember seeing some people talking about it on the Sims 4 community Facebook page, and they were so excited about scaling objects down. And I was like, yeah, I guess that's pretty cool. I mean, I really honestly, when people were talking about it, I didn't think it was like that cool. I was happy for it, but it wasn't anything that I ever really would have seen myself like petitioning for the Sims 4 community. Like, hey, really, like I would like to be able to scale objects down. I've never would have thought I would have been like wanting that, but now that I have it, it is absolutely amazing for all of these rocks to be able to scale them down. I am so excited, and I use it in a lot of like the dollhouse, I think, when I do that later, and some of the toys I scale up and scale down. So I'm so excited to be able to do that. Um, so that's pretty much the majority that you see me doing of the landscaping. I did edit out quite a bit of all of the plants and stuff that I end up putting around, which basically goes around the entire perimeter of the house, by the way. I think I show you a little bit of some more rock placement later, but for the most part, all the landscaping for this video purpose is done. And so now I'm just focusing on some of the other details of the backyard. So, putting some nice seating areas along the pool, and in a few minutes, I do kind of come back to the pool area and make it this section kind of where I'm at right now, where the bar is at. I moved that fence like 2 squares wider to make the pool area bigger. And I do that for a couple different reasons, but I mostly just wanted to have some stairs that are in that like back little porch area, which by the way, those doors end up leading to the office. So here I am kind of furnishing this porch section. So I eventually kind of make that a little bit bigger and wider and open that up a little bit more. So I think that looks really nice. So here's something that I've never done in a house before, and I've always wanted to. And again, not the original idea of this. I think I had seen that somebody post a picture, and I want to say it was in The Sims 3. It might have been in Sims 4, but basically I put a tennis court in the backyard, and mostly just because this is a huge lot. It's 64 by 64, and the house is big. However, it's not like super huge in my opinion. So I always feel like I need to fill up some of the lawn space, and so I decided to put a tennis court. And so obviously it's not functional. I mean, there's no tennis in The Sims, but you could definitely, if you have city living, you can put a basketball court back here, or the cats and dog pack, you could definitely put a like the training course for them back here, because I didn't include that in this particular build. But so here I am kind of adding those stairs that I was talking to you about earlier, and then just adding some of the terrain paint that goes around. And then you can see all of the rest of the landscaping is pretty much done, going all the way around the whole perimeter of the house. And then since I kind of added this space over here, putting again some more seating and some chairs around, and then again just kind of finishing up some rocks. So here's another, I guess, tip that I can give you when if you're building and trying to landscape. I personally think that rocks, if you line like the flower beds with rocks, I think it looks so much better. So if you look at the right side versus the left side, I think the side with the rocks looks more realistic, I guess, and kind of just hides the fact that it's a video game and not perfect, I guess. So moving on to another section of the backyard, and just putting a little pond. And again, I lined that with a whole bunch of rocks to make it look more realistic, in my opinion anyway. And then I decided to put some like actual rock in the middle, and then just kind of looking for some objects to go around. I really feel like I use a lot of the items from the Romantic Garden stuff pack, and I really honestly feel like it's one of the most underrated stuff packs out there. I use so many items from them all the time. Not necessarily all of the plants and the flowers and everything, but I love the garden, like statues and the benches and archways and stuff like that. I think it's really a nice pack. And so I mean I have all of the packs, so I use all of the items very frequently, but I really like that pack. I feel like it doesn't get as enough like credit when I look at people saying like, oh, Romantic Garden, whatever. I personally like it a lot, and I do end up putting a wishing well back here, which comes from the Romantic Garden stuff pack, and actually something that I've never really played around with before. So you can see me putting some seating areas and like some plants and just kind of like adding them around the path of the pond. And I end up, you see all of a sudden it just kind of appeared, because I did cut out that video, but I put like a small white picket fence. So there's kind of a half fence covering that area, and then kind of like halfway covered by like shrubs and stuff. And I don't know, I just think that looks quite nice. So I'm working now on a little play area for the kiddos, and I eventually figured out that there's like another toddler play set thing. I don't know, it's not a slide, if it's like a towel, I don't know what it is, but I ended up putting something else there besides the table and chairs that were kind of on that little play section. And then kind of on the other side of the yard, putting more of, I guess, an adult area where there's some gardening things and stuff like that. So pretty much now the outside is completely done, and I'm working on the inside, obviously. So I always feel like when I start to do the interior, I always typically start with the kitchen. And I don't know why. I just feel like the kitchen is kind of like the like hub of the entire house. And so however the vibe that I get from the kitchen is kind of dictates how the rest of the house is going to go. So this kitchen was quite an odd shape to work with, but I'm really happy with it in the end. I end up having kind of two islands, and one thing that I've really never done, I've done this a couple times in my houses, but I never end up leaving it. So I put the kitchen sink on the island, and I typically will always put a dishwasher in the sink in the kitchen as well. And I don't like how if you put a dishwasher on the island, it like you can see through on the island pieces. I don't like that. Whereas if you put the dishwasher on a cabinet that's against the wall, you can't see it. It doesn't like glitch through on both sides. So I my solution for that was I just didn't put a dishwasher in this house, which I guess isn't very practical. You would think that a house this size would have a dishwasher, but I didn't include it because I wanted the kitchen sink on the island. So, pretty much done with the kitchen and moving on now to this is kind of like the Eden kitchen, kind of casual dining space. So, again, with the move objects on cheat, I made the table kind of octagonal, which I thought was kind of cool. And I decided not to overflood this table with a whole bunch of chairs. So I really just put four, even though you can easily add four more chairs around there. But I didn't feel like that was necessary because I do have a formal dining room in this house. So plus there was like three stools around the island. So I just kind of kept that a little bit more empty, and I like it. So this room I would consider I wouldn't say it's a formal living room, but maybe just like a living room. It's kind of casual. There's no TV in this room, but there's also no fireplace. So it's just kind of like a seating area, which has doors that lead out to the backyard. This I would say is more of a family room. It has the TV and it has a toy box for the kiddos. I don't know if it's just for toddlers or kids as well, but there is that in the corner. And this room also is kind of closed off. There's like not an official door, but there's an archway, so it's a little bit more kind of tucked back in the corner. This is obviously the diagonal section of the house when you're looking at it from the outside. And I don't know, there's carpet in here, so I think it's more like kid or teen friendly. But obviously the parents could hang out here as well. There is a small powder room that's kind of off to where like the eating kitchen is. You can see the door on the bottom of the screen there. And then there's also another full bathroom on this level. So currently working on the dining room. There are two entry doors or entryways to get to the dining room, one from the kitchen and one from another room off to the kitchen, which I do in a few minutes here. But just kind of working on the dining room. There's a fireplace in there, which I think looks quite nice. And then you kind of just missed the other full bathroom on this level. So, and another thing I always say when I make houses or videos, I always like to have plenty of bathrooms for my Sims. I think it takes way too long for them to walk around and find a bathroom, so I usually try to make them pretty accessible. Another fireplace in the office, which I really like. I think there's two new fireplaces with the cats and dogs expansion. So I think I used. There's three fireplaces in this house, and I want to say two of them are from the cats and dogs pack, but I am currently now kind of dressing up the front hallway and like entryway. One of the things I definitely use and probably overuse as far as like clutter is pots and like plants. I just feel like it is a good thing to take up space. So I end up using there's literally a plant in like every single room in my Sims houses or rooms that I build. I just can't help it. I overuse I think plants, but I think it just kind of fills up the area nicely. So this is the last room on this level, and so there's kind of like a doorway that goes in from the main hallway and then also access to the dining room, which I think is nice. And I really wasn't sure what to do with this room since I already had two living rooms. So I ended up putting a bar and a small TV in the back, which I think is kind of funny because I have a friend who lives in Italy, and I've watched her videos before, and she's said before that she doesn't like putting bars in her houses because nobody that she knows has a bar in their house. And I don't know. I think that like here in the United States, I know a couple of different people who have a little bar in their house. So I've always put bars in my houses. I don't know, like I don't even really like to drink that much, but I apparently my sim self or my sim families, I always make them pretty much look like raging alcoholics because they always have like probably at least two bars. This house has two bars, one on the inside and one on the outside by the pool. So enough about bars because I'm currently working on the kids' room, and I did decide to put a toddler bed and a child-sized bed in this room just to kind of be more versatile. Obviously, if you don't need one or the other, you can delete it. But I did try to with the other like these two other bedrooms to try to make them more gender neutral. So if you needed it to apply for a certain gender, then you could easily do so. Um, this is, I guess I would consider this room here to be more for teen or like young adult, I guess. I mean, it could work for a child as well, but there's not any toys or anything in here. This is a kind of an artsy room. I have the art easel, and then I scaled down some of those canvas things that are just for decoration. And I think that looks really nice. I'm glad that I was able to scale that down. That was one thing that, again, when I was able to do that and the dollhouse in the kids' room, I was really excited about that. So working now on the hallway, kind of outside on the second level, there is a full bathroom kind of to the right hand side of your screen for the bedrooms and for all the guests on this level. And then this is kind of just like an area for the kids. I put two desks here and a couple of shelves with some like clutter on there. I felt like this area was too big of a section to just leave blank, but I really didn't know what to do here. So, um, realistically, it's kind of a weird spot to do homework at, but it's outside the bedrooms and kind of supposed to be kid friendly. This hallway area in general was again just kind of an awkward shape for me. I didn't really know what to do with this because it's definitely too big in my opinion to leave empty, but it's kind of small to really use it as a official room. And again, this is just how the floor plan kind of worked out when I was working on it. So I end up kind of, you see me playing around with a couple of different ideas, and I end up moving the TV and the couch back kind of on the how it was originally. And I get rid of the official kids activity center table and the dartboard game thing and end up going with some more objects from the cats and dog pack so I could um, have those. I think that the kitty house looks really kind of cute and the scratching post and everything. So then I think I just finished it off with a couple of posters on the back wall and then finally working on the master bedroom. So again, there's a fireplace in this room here, and sorry to say the lighting in this back corner isn't really good, but before I uploaded the house, I did add a light so it looks quite better, I think. So here's what I was talking about earlier about something I've never really seen done is, again, with the move objects on cheat, I intertwined the bed so it's supposed to look like it's a king size bed, which I think is kind of cool. And I did test the house um, I only had one sim in the family move in, so at least one sim was able to sleep in the bed. I don't know if you have two, like a husband and wife or whatever, or a couple. I don't know if they would be able to both sleep in the bed, but at least one sim was able to. Obviously, if it doesn't work, you can always delete one of the beds and just have a regular like bed, but I thought that was kind of interesting and kind of different. So, currently working on the bathroom, and when I had the idea of having the bathroom be in this kind of octagonal section, I was really excited about it. However, when I finally got to building in here, I was like, what was I thinking? This is a horrible room for a bathroom. So I ended up kind of closing off some of the diagonal walls, and I feel like it just works out better. So the downside about that is this isn't really realistic, but there's four windows when you look from the outside that go into the bathroom, and realistically on the inside some of the windows actually you just see walls. So there's actually only two like functioning windows where you can see out of, but I feel like it works out better to kind of have some like areas that were kind of sectioned off. And so I have the first section with like the sink and the toilet, and then I have the curtains kind of separating the shower and the tub. So obviously it's not functional, but the idea behind it is that you can just pull the curtains back if you were in there showering and just kind of have a little bit more privacy. Last but not least, we are on the third level, which I end up using officially as an attic. I feel like you could easily, where the workbench is, kind of section that off and put another bathroom up here and a bedroom if you wanted, or perhaps some like exercise equipment because I didn't include any of that. I decided to definitely treat it as an attic, just because I thought I've never really made one, and I like how the stairs kind of come up here. And yeah, I like how I kind of just threw some random objects in here, like the chair, which is looks like a ghost. I feel like that's just definitely a random object that you would have and be like, what am I going to use this for now? And I put some cobwebs and kind of like made it look not as like kept up, I guess, as the rest of the house. So finally getting towards the end of the video and onto some screenshots. So looking at it from the front and kind of almost like an aerial view and the backyard. I do eventually get some closer up views of some of the landscaping, and you can see more of the terrain paint and editing and stuff all in detail, that I didn't necessarily show all of the like terrain paint and everything like that. The outside dining space, I did put a grill, which I don't think ended up making part of the video, but there's like a grill and barbecue area and another view of the pool and the little deck space coming off of the office area. And another view from the front, we're going to go into the interior of the house. And I do show the screenshots, basically how I ended up building the house in general. So we start from the front and in the entryway, and then we're going to go into the kitchen. And I don't know, I really like this kitchen. I feel like this is probably my favorite screenshot. I like the cabinets, how they're kind of stacked on top of each other. And then another view where you can see the sink with no dishwasher present, but I like it. And then another view, I like how this is kind of all open. So from the kitchen to like the little eating kitchen to the living room area, you can probably all kind of be in the same area and still be together kind of as a family, which I think is kind of nice. And now we are officially in the family room. I love that couch. I don't know, I think that came with the pets pack. I love how it looks like something that you would see in the 70s. So yeah, I liked the couch. And this is obviously the formal kind of dining room with a fireplace. And I like that rug too. I think that definitely came from the pets pack. And now we're onto the bar area. So I guess this isn't exactly how I built the interior, but pretty close. So this is the full bathroom on this level. I did mention that there is another like powder room or just a toilet and a sink also on this level by the dining room. And finally off to the office. So yeah, always like to have a nice office area in my houses. I feel like because I have a designated room for my computer that I always like to make a designated spot for my Sims. And so this is kind of the hallway on the second level where the kids can have some area to do their homework or just kind of relax, another TV slash sitting area. And those doors go into the master bedroom, which we'll get to towards a little bit. We're going to go to these other bedrooms first. So the kids' bedroom, couple of different toys and clutter objects. Some of those blocks I did size up and then kind of scale down. So I don't know, I think it looks kind of cute to do that. And then working on the other bedroom, if you notice, like I feel like some of the windows are kind of high for the bedrooms, but I didn't want to move them down because that would just, I would have to adjust the whole roof and I didn't want to have to do all that. So I just kind of left it. Finally on to the master bedroom and getting a little bit of a closer view of the fireplace. And then the nice king size bed. I think that looks really cool. And let me know if you've ever seen that before in any other videos or builds or anything. I'd be curious to know. That little room that you just saw was the walk-in closet, by the way, for the master bedroom. And now we're on to the ensuite bathroom. So I changed the color of the curtains too. It was like this awful blue, which didn't match anything. So changed it to the cream color, which I think looks nice. And finally off into the attic, which is for like I have it kind of as a non-functional room, but I actually think it's one of my favorite rooms. It just kind of looks very random and I don't know, but like I said, you can easily add another bedroom up there if you wanted. So finally into some shots at night. I did take a few of those, and then we eventually get into some of the floor plans. So if you want to, you can try to recreate this house. I do have links in the description box below so you can download this house fully furnished, and then I also have it with just the exterior done so you can give it a try if you want to try to furnish it yourself. Um, so please let me know if you end up doing that, and like, comment, and share this video. I'd love to hear your feedback and what you think of everything. Until next time, I will see you guys all back. I hope you have a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.